Hi guys, welcome back to Learning English and Literature. In this video, I will explain adjectival phrase, relative clause, and prepositional phrase. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and let's reach a wider audience. An adjectival phrase gives you more information about a noun or a pronoun in a sentence. Adjectival phrase qualifies the noun that precedes it in a sentence. For example, the man standing at the gate is my father. Remember the words in italics. It's for you to determine if it's a phrase or a clause. Standing at the gate is my father. It's a phrase, okay? So you indicate it somewhere. What is this phrase doing in the sentence? The phrase is giving you more information about the noun, man. So you state the function. It qualifies, okay? It qualifies the noun, man, in the sentence. Relative clause. Now, relative clause acts as an adjectival. It gives you more information about a noun or a pronoun, and it is introduced by relative pronouns such as who, whose, that, which, whom, where. For example, the man standing at the gate is my father. That's an adjectival phrase. The man who is standing at the gate is my father. Now, note that there is no relative phrase, only relative clause. Now, for question 2, the first thing you do is to identify if this is a phrase or a clause. Obviously, this is a clause, who is. And like I said, once the group of words is introduced by any of those words, any of these relative pronouns, you have a relative clause. This is the grammatical name, relative clause. What's the function? It qualifies the noun man in the sentence. Simple. So relative clause and adjectival phrase, they are very, very similar, okay? So just remember, for relative clause, the group of words, that is the words in italics, must be introduced by relative pronouns. Finally, prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase begins with a preposition and ends with a noun. It functions as either an adjectival phrase or an adverbial phrase. Note, there is no prepositional clause. For example, he died in my arms. If you look at the words in italics, it begins with a preposition in and ends with a noun, arms. Once you identify if it's a phrase or a clause, the first thing you do is to look at the phrase or the clause and find out the head word, what introduces that phrase or clause. If it's a relative pronoun, you know you're looking at relative clause. If it's a preposition, you know you're looking at the prepositional phrase. So, he died in my arms is a prepositional phrase. What is the function? He died in my arms. It gives you more information about the verb died. It modifies the verb. Now here, it functions as an adverbial phrase of place, modifying the verb died. Let's look at some examples. That's the man with the bald head. With is a preposition, head is a noun, that makes it a prepositional phrase. It functions as an adjective qualifying the noun, man. It gives you more information about the man with the bald head. Without the phrase with the bald head, you will not know anything about the man. Now, let's try this. This is the usual lot of mental patients whose family refuse to take advantage of orthodox treatment. The first thing you do is to look at the words in italics, find out if it's a phrase or clause. Obviously, this is a clause, so you indicate clause. If you look at the words in italics or the clause is being introduced by the word whose, and whose is a relative pronoun that makes it a relative clause. So, relative clause. Remember, relative clause functions as an adjective. It qualifies a noun. So, what does it qualify in this sentence? The mental patients, okay? It qualifies the noun. Mental patients. Very easy. Child labor, on the other hand, is about children who work long hours for low wages. The first thing you do is to identify if this is a phrase or a clause. Don't ever forget that. And this is a clause, who and work. So you indicate clause. Now, if you look at the clause there, it's being introduced by the word who, which is a relative pronoun. So that makes it a relative clause. It qualifies the noun, children, because this phrase is giving you more information about the children who work long hours for low wages. So it qualifies the noun, children. Remember, the grammatical name will give you 1 mark. The function will give you 2 marks, so 3 marks in the back. In my next video, I will continue analyzing WASSCE past papers. Thank you very much.